Imagine this. Your big brother becomes a millionaire, living in mansions, driving luxury cars, and surrounded by fame, while you're still stuck in the same hood, fighting for your life in the streets you both grew up in. Sounds like a movie, right? But this ain't fiction. This is real life. This is the untold story of how NBA Youngboy, one of the biggest rappers in the game, left his own blood brother behind in the trenches, the story about loyalty, betrayal, and how success can change a person so much that they forget where they came from to be why the time the story ends. You'll understand why the streets are questioning NBA Youngboy's loyalty. Not to his crew, not to his fans, but to his own brother, Boy Young. The bond that started it all. Before the fame, before the millions, there were two brothers in Baton Rouge. Kentrell, NBA Youngboy, and Boy Young weren't just close. They were inseparable. Same father, same home, same struggles. They faced poverty, violence, and the constant sound of sirens together. When nobody had their back, they had each other. They dreamed of making it out together. But fate had other plans as Youngboy's music started blowing up. His life changed overnight. Tours, money, fame. Everything he dreamed became true. But while he rose to the top, Boy stayed stuck in the same trenches they both swore they'd escape. A brother forgotten. Fast forward to now. Youngboy's living in luxury. Boy sitting behind bars in Texas, fighting serious charges with nothing but a public defender. And here's what's wild. NBA Youngboy spends more money on jewelry in a month than it would cost to hire his brother a proper lawyer. That's not just distance, that's disconnect. The streets are starting to talk. How can a man who raps about loyalty, brotherhood, and realness leave his own blood fighting for his freedom? The psychology behind the distance. See, success can mess with your mind. When someone escapes the struggle, they start believing anyone can do what they did. They forget not everyone gets the same breaks, the same luck, the same talent. Sometimes they even start to fear their past, try to erase it instead of embracing it. And for Youngboy, Boy represents everything he's running from. The hood, the danger, the trauma, the version of himself. He doesn't want to be any more S.O. Instead of pulling his brother out, he cuts that part of his life off completely. Friends over family. Now here's where things get real twisted. Youngboy takes care of his homies better than his own brother. We've seen him buying cars, giving out houses, and put his friends on payroll. Some of these dudes don't even rap. They just exist around him and still get paid. Meanwhile, his blood brother, the one who had his back from day one, is sitting in jail without proper legal help that I in the hood. There's one rule that never changes. Family comes first. But somewhere along the way, Youngboy forgot that the streets are watching. Youngboy came up off loyalty. Stay real. Stay true. Never forget where you came from. But right now, his actions tell a different story. The same people who once cheered for his success are now asking questions. If he can leave his own brother behind, who can he really be loyal to? Boy's reality. Now imagine being Boy. Watching your brother become one of the biggest names in the world while you're locked up, broke, forgotten, and alone. He probably remembers when they had nothing, when every dream they had was built on surviving together. Now, he's sitting in a cell wondering how everything went wrong. Point two brothers, point one made it out, point one got left behind. And the craziest part, there's still family. But sometimes, blood just ain't enough. The pain behind the fame. But now, things couldn't be more different. NBA Youngboy is sitting on millions, living a life most people only dream of, while his own blood brother, Boy Young, is locked up, facing serious time with barely any legal help. And that's where the pain really starts to show. Because when your brother has the power to change your situation and chooses not to, it cuts deeper than anything else. You can see it in Boy's face. That pain ain't just from jail time. It's from feeling forgotten. Feeling like the one person who was supposed to have your back turned his back instead. That kind of abandonment doesn't just hurt your heart. It rewires your mind. IT makes you question everything you thought you knew about love, loyalty, and family. The harsh legal reality. Let's keep it real. Having a public defender instead of a private lawyer when you're fighting serious charges is a world of difference. Public defenders are overworked, underpaid, and juggling dozens of cases at once. They don't have the time or resources to truly fight for you. Now imagine if Youngboy hired a top-tier legal team. Investigators, expert witnesses, strategists, the kind of team that could actually get him home. That Youngboy probably spends more on studio sessions and jewelry in a single month than it would take to build that defense team. But instead of investing in his brother's freedom, he's investing in everything else: cars, chains, mansions, and taking care of people who aren't even blood dash related. SO in the streets see this, they take notes. Because money can buy you fame, but loyalty can't be bought back once it's gone. Friends over family. Here's what really stings. Young boy treats random people in his circle better than his own brother. He's got dudes on payroll who don't write, don't produce, don't perform. They just hang around. He buys cars for friends, houses for associates, and takes care of entire families that aren't even connected to him by blood. Meanwhile, his own brother, the kid who shared the same room, the same hunger, the same pain, is fighting for his life with a public defender. That's not just neglect. That's a decision, not a choice to put his circle over his family. And yeah, the psychology behind it is deep. When people blow up, they start feeling like they owe their success to the crew that was around during the rise, not the people who were there before it started. T.O. Young Boy. His friends represent success, but Bway? He represents his past, the pain, the struggle, the part of himself he's trying to escape. And sometimes, people who make out start thinking their family should just be grateful for connection. Like, you're my brother. That alone puts your name on the map. But that's not love. That's ego. The Baton Rouge viewpoint. Back home in Baton Rouge, people are watching, and they don't like what they see in the hood. Family is sacred, and no matter how big you get, you never turn your back on your blood. That's the number one rule. The same streets that raised Young Boy, the same city he represents in every bar, are now asking, how can you claim loyalty to Baton Rouge when you left your own brother behind in it? Because everyone remembers when Young Boy needed his brother, when the two of them were grinding just to eat, when family was all they had. Now that the fame and money came in, it looks like Bway doesn't even exist. And that's what's damaging his image. Not a diss track, not a rumor, but his own actions. Because if you can abandon your own blood, what does that say about your loyalty to anyone else? Inside Bway's mind. Now, picture what this is doing to Bway mentally. He's not just locked up. He's trapped in his thoughts. Every night. Probably wondering what went wrong. What did I do to deserve this? Why doesn't my brother care? Why did success change him so much? And the craziest part, even after all that pain, Bway probably still loves him. That's how family works. No matter how deep the wound, the love doesn't die. But every court date that passes, every time he sees Young Boy showing off new cars instead of showing up for him, every time he goes back to that cell with the same overworked lawyer, that love fades a little more at this point. It's clear. Young Boy is not thinking like a brother anymore. He's thinking like a businessman. In business. You invest in what benefits you. You spend money on what brings a return. You cut off what doesn't add value. But family isn't business. Family is supposed to be unconditional, especially when someone's down bad. Bway shouldn't have to earn his brother's help. He shouldn't have to prove he's worth saving. Because loyalty isn't a transaction, it's a bond. And once that bond breaks, no amount of fame can fix it. Business versus blood. See, Bway shouldn't have to earn his brother's help. He shouldn't have to beg or prove his worth. He should get it automatically, because that's what family does. But somewhere along the way, Young Boy started thinking like a CEO instead of a brother. He probably told himself, getting involved might hurt my image, or Bway needs to handle his own problems. Maybe he even thought helping him was a bad investment. But that's the tragedy. Young Boy started applying business logic to a family bond. And when you start treating family like a business deal, you lose the very thing that made you human. Money and fame didn't just change Young Boy's lifestyle. They changed his heart. And the more he wins, the more disconnected he becomes from the people who helped him survive before the fame. The loyalty test. Every struggle in life eventually turns into a loyalty test. And right now, Young Boy is failing his. Because loyalty isn't about who celebrates with you when you're up. It's about who you help when they have nothing left. And when your own brother is down bad, when he's facing time, when he needs you most, that's when your true character shows. Right now, the people in Young Boy's circle are passing his version of the loyalty test because they make him feel good. They represent his new life. The success, the fame, the image. But Bway, he represents the pain, the struggle, the part of life Young Boy doesn't want to look back at. What Young Boy doesn't understand is that the real loyalty test isn't about who makes your life easier. It's about who you stand by when there's nothing in it for you. And by that measure, he's failing his own brother. Badly. The streets are watching. The streets understand this. Even if Young Boy doesn't, that's why the talk in Baton Rouge has shifted. People aren't saying Young Boy's real anymore. They're saying Young Boy forgot where he came from. And once the streets start questioning your loyalty, that's a wound that doesn't heal. Because street respect isn't built on hits or money. It's built on how you treat your people. And if you can turn your back on your own blood, who can really trust you? The ripple effect. This whole situation is starting to ripple through everything connected to Young Boy, his image, his music, even how other artists look at him. In hip-hop, family loyalty is sacred. Rappers like Lil Baby, Jay-Z, and Drake, they take care of their people. When someone in their circle gets in trouble, they don't hesitate. They make a call, write a check, and make it right, because that's what real ones do. Meanwhile, Young Boy's brother, his own blood, is sitting in jail with a public defender. That's not just neglect, that's betrayal. And it's becoming public. Now, the same streets that built Young Boy's image are slowly tearing it down. Because no matter how many hits you drop, if you fail the loyalty test, your credibility takes a hit. And in this game, once your realness gets questioned, it's almost impossible to earn it back. How success changed him. Let's talk psychology for a second. When someone goes from having nothing to having everything, it does something to mind. You start seeing your past as a threat. You start believing that the people from your old life are holding you back. Instead of lifting them up, you start cutting them off, telling yourself it's for your own good. That's what's happening with Young Boy in his mind. Boy isn't just his brother. He's a reminder of the pain, the violence, the chaos he escaped. And instead of freeing his brother from that world, he's protecting himself from it. Success made him forget the principles that made him who he is, the loyalty, the family ties, the code that the streets live by. He traded it all to protect an image that's slowly cracking. The comparison, that hurts. Look around the rap game. The difference is clear. Lil Baby looks out for his people. Jay-Z made sure everyone who came up and got a seat at the table. Drake, Future. They all understand that family loyalty is part of success. It's not charity. It's honored, it's the code. But Young Boy, he's acting like his brother's a stranger, like the blood they share doesn't mean anything. And that makes the whole thing hit harder. Because we've seen that it can be done right. He's just choosing not to. The long-term consequences. This won't just fade away. Family wounds like this don't heal with time. They scar. Even if Young Boy wakes up one day and decides to help Boy, it'll be too late. Because Boy will always remember that when he needed his brother most. His brother chose not to care, and you can't buy back that kind of betrayal. The streets will remember it too. Fans might forget a song, but they never forget how real you were. And in hip-hop, reputation is everything. That Young Boy might think he's protecting his image, but in reality, he's destroying the foundation it was built on. Because without family, without loyalty, all the fame and fortune in the world just turns into expensive loneliness. The final message. At the end of the day, this isn't just a story about two brothers, it's a warning about how success can twist your vision until you can't even recognize what matters anymore. That Young Boy's got the fame, he's got the money, he's got everything he ever dreamed of. But he's losing the one thing that's priceless, his soul. Because when you forget family, you forget who you are, and in the streets, real recognize real. But fake always gets exposed. And right now, the world is watching that exposure happen. In real time. NOCAP.